The Book of Exodus, the story of Moses, a legacy of faith. Long ago, in the land of Egypt, a powerful Pharaoh ruled with an iron fist. But how did the Israelites come to be in Egypt? It all began with a man named Joseph, a son of Jacob, who was sold into slavery by his jealous brothers. Through divine wisdom, Joseph rose to power as Pharaoh's right-hand man, saving Egypt from famine. Because of him, his family, the Israelites, were welcomed into Egypt and settled in the land of Goshen. As the years passed, the Israelites multiplied and thrived. But a new Pharaoh, who did not remember Joseph's deeds, saw them as a threat. Fearing they would rise against him, he made a terrifying decree. Every newborn Israelite boy must be killed. Jochebed, a woman from the tribe of Levi, could not bear to lose her child. With the help of her daughter Miriam, she placed her baby boy in a basket and sent him down the mighty Nile River, praying that God would protect him. By divine fate, the basket was found by Pharaoh's own daughter, Bithiah. She took pity on the crying infant and named him Moses, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." Raising him as her own in the royal palace, she ensured he had the finest education and upbringing. But Moses always felt different. He saw the suffering of his people, and his heart ached for them. One day, in a moment of anger, he struck an Egyptian who was beating an Israelite. Fearing for his life, Moses fled into the wilderness. In the land of Midian, Moses came across a well, where he saw the daughters of a priest named Jethro being mistreated by shepherds. With courage, Moses stepped in and defended them, helping them draw water for their flock. When Jethro heard of Moses' kindness, he invited him into his home. In time, Moses found peace in Midian and married one of Jethro's daughters, Zipporah. He became a shepherd, tending to his father-in-law's flocks, unaware that his greatest journey was still ahead of him. Then, something extraordinary happened. As Moses led his flock near Mount Horeb, also known as Mount Sinai, a bush burned with fire, but was not consumed. From it, a voice called out, "Moses, take off your sandals, for you stand on holy ground." It was the voice of God. He commanded Moses to return to Egypt and demand Pharaoh release the Israelites. Though afraid, Moses obeyed.
"Let my people go."
But Pharaoh's heart was hard. He refused. So God demonstrated his power through signs and wonders. First, he turned Moses' staff into a serpent before Pharaoh, but Pharaoh's magicians imitated the miracle, and he remained unmoved. Then came the 10 plagues. First, the waters of Egypt turned to blood, killing fish and making the river undrinkable. Then, an infestation of frogs swarmed the land, invading homes and beds. Next, gnats and flies filled the air, tormenting the people. A terrible disease struck the Egyptians' livestock, killing their animals. Then, painful boils broke out on people and animals alike. After that, hail rained down like fire, destroying crops and buildings. Locusts swarmed across Egypt, devouring what little was left. Then, an unnatural darkness covered the land for 3 days, a darkness so thick it could be felt. Yet Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. Then came the final and most devastating plague, the death of every Egyptian firstborn. But God provided a way for the Israelites to be spared. He instructed them to mark their doorposts with the blood of a lamb. That night, the angel of death passed over their homes, but in every Egyptian household, the firstborn perished, including Pharaoh's own son. Only then did Pharaoh finally relent. Pharaoh could bear no more. He finally let the Israelites go, and in their departure, the Egyptians, fearing further punishment, gave them gold, silver, and fine clothing, gifts that would sustain them on their journey. Freedom at last. But God did not leave his people alone in the wilderness. By day, he led them with a pillar of cloud, guiding them through the desert. By night, the pillar became fire, providing light and protection. Pharaoh, however, changed his mind. He sent his army to chase them down. Trapped at the edge of the Red Sea, fear filled their hearts. But Moses lifted his staff, and the waters parted. The Israelites crossed safely, but when Pharaoh's army followed, the sea crashed down, swallowing them whole. Moses had led his people to freedom. But the journey was not without trials. As they wandered the desert, the people grew hungry and cried out to God. In his mercy, he provided for them. Each morning, manna, bread from heaven, covered the ground like dew, and in the evening, quail filled their camp, giving them meat to eat. Through every trial, God remained with them, teaching them to trust in his provision. As they camped at the base of Mount Sinai, Moses ascended the mountain to speak with God. There, God gave him the 10 Commandments, laws to guide his people in righteousness. But while Moses was away, the people grew impatient. They crafted a golden calf, a false god, and worshipped it, forgetting the one who had freed them. When Moses saw their betrayal, he shattered the tablets in anger. But God, in his mercy, gave them another chance. Moses returned to the mountain and received the commandments once more, sealing a covenant between God and his people. Though they had stumbled, the Israelites would continue their journey, learning, growing, and preparing for the land promised to them. But the journey was not over. For 40 years they wandered the desert, learning to trust God, and in time they would reach the land promised to them. Moses' story is one of courage, faith, and the power of believing in something greater than fear. His journey reminds us that even in the darkest moments, hope and freedom are always within reach. Lesson learnt: trust in God's plan. Even in difficult times, God has a purpose for our lives, just as he did for Moses and the Israelites. Courage and faith. Moses showed bravery by standing up to Pharaoh, teaching us to trust in God's strength when facing challenges. Obedience leads to blessings. The Israelites were provided for when they obeyed God, reminding us that following him brings guidance and provision, patience and perseverance. The journey to freedom was long, showing that great things take time and faith. Avoid idolatry. Worshipping the golden calf led to consequences, reminding us to stay faithful to God alone.
Hi, friends. If you enjoyed this story and feel inspired, there's so much more where that came from. On this channel, we dive into uplifting, faith-filled content to encourage you in your journey. If you're looking for more inspiring Bible stories, lessons of hope, and moments to strengthen your faith, hit that subscribe button now. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, let's grow in faith and share God's love with the world. See you in the next video.